Good evening, and welcome along to this week's show. Guests this week include H from Steps. He's going to be here. We'll be chatting to celebrity chef Ken Hom, and we'll have live music in the studio from singer-songwriter Jessie Terry. We'll also be finding out about this year's Dark Hedges Film Festival, and Colin Barkley from the charity Northern Ireland Children to Lapland Trust and Days to Remember Trust will also be with us in the studio. But starting things off, we're talking TV and movies, and some of the big TV locations that you can visit throughout the UK. To find out more about this, TV and film expert Alex Zane joins us now on the line. Alex, how are you?
Robin, I'm not too bad, mate. I'm very well, actually. Yes, I like being called a film and TV expert. I normally get called a film and TV geek, but expert makes it sound more professional, so thank you.
So tell us more about these TV locations then. We've discovered that more than half of people have booked trips and days out throughout the UK inspired by the filming locations of their favourite TV shows and films, haven't they?
Yeah, it's this amazing new statistic that people are, like you say, booking trips and days out around the UK inspired by those locations. So I teamed up with Megabus to create this downloadable guide called the Showstoppers Guide, which actually directs people to where they can visit for a day trip, for a weekend day out, take the family with them and actually head to these locations. Because, you know, like I said, a bit of a TV and film geek. Normally, I'd be trawling through the internet trying to find out where things were filmed, what was filmed where. So we decided to put it all in one location that people can just go, oh, great, there it is. I'll head there for the weekend.
So I know you've been out and about as well. Tell us about some of the locations that you've visited recently.
We went to so many different places. So Manchester was great. I'm a big Peaky Blinders fan. So we got to visit Castlefield Viaduct, which is where they shot some of Peaky Blinders. And it's just kind of amazing. I think whether you're a film and TV fan or not, going to these locations that you've seen on TV, like Peaky Blinders, sort of early 20th century Birmingham, and then you visit location in 2022 Manchester, and you just begin to understand the craft of filmmaking and the way sets are dressed and props are used to transport the viewer to these places, and yet they still retain this kind of magic of the show that was filmed there. So it's really exciting for someone who loves film and TV.
Now, I have to admit, I was in Leeds recently and I just had to do the Emmerdale tour. Of course, Emmerdale celebrating its 50 years on TV this year. And I have to say, I was like a kid in a sweet shop walking around the village and recognising all the places, going, here's the wool pack, here's somewhere else. It was actually a great day out.
Yeah, well, being from Leeds originally, it's great to hear that you went to Leeds. It's a wonderful city. It's my hometown. And yeah, we're all very proud of Emmerdale. And yeah, it's great. It is. It does bring out the child in you, because there is something still, like, as you grow up, we all grow up with TV. We watch TV as kids. We watch it with the family. Parents watch it with their kids. And there's something really lovely about spending time at a location that you saw in TV. And I think you put it exactly right. Like a kid in a sweet shop. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm actually there on something I've only ever seen on TV.
And as an Emmerdale fan, I couldn't believe the attention to detail. I was walking around the cemetery in the church at one stage, looking at the gravestones, and I noticed there was actually a gravestone for some of the characters. Like there was Alan Turner's grave.
It's a completely immersive experience. Yeah, they don't mess about. It's like they really go to town.
So as well as the Emmerdale tour, you can also do the Coronation Street tour in Manchester, can't you?
Oh, you can. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm more of a film fan than a soap fan. So I tended to err on the side of, for example, going to Birmingham and visiting Grand Central Station, which is in the new Mission Impossible movie. They've transformed it in the new, next year, I think, Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning comes out. And so we went to Grand Central, which in the movie, you can see stills online, which obviously I have, because that's what I do with my days. And they've transformed it into Abu Dhabi Airport. And so you stand there and you go, it's just amazing what people can do to a location to turn it into this place that we all recognise from TV.
And of course, here in Northern Ireland, you can spot filming locations all the time. We have so many TV shows being shot here, things like Line of Duty and Bloodlands, which of course is on at the moment as well.
Did you not have, it was Game of Thrones? I think they filmed some of Game of Thrones in Northern Ireland as well.
And yeah, Game of Thrones was filmed here in some fantastic locations on the North Coast, places like Ballantoy and great places like that.
And I imagine it's great for the area as well, because I think what we're finding now is across the UK, and film and TV production has just increased, and it just having all these craftspeople who are either local or come in, actors flying in, and it builds this entire almost mini city for the period that they're filming, which just brings so much revenue to a community, and also is inspiring to have something that is going to be on TV being filmed on your doorstep.
And we've just heard the next thing to be filmed in Belfast is going to be the new Blade Runner TV series.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll be booking my ticket. That's Robin, you've out-geeked me. That is fantastic intel, my friend. I love that. Right. I'll be on the next flight over there. That's fantastic. Oh, I didn't know it had even got the green light. That's brilliant. Wow. Yeah.
And talking about Game of Thrones, of course, we've got the Game of Thrones tour, which you can go and visit in Banbridge, which has all the sets and props and costumes and stuff like that.
I mean, that sounds great. I haven't visited that one. I've done the Harry Potter tour just outside of Watford area, and I love that. So especially, you see, when it's the actual props from the show that you're actually seeing, you're going, oh my God, that is the sword that beheaded Ned Stark. I love it.
Well, just to finish with, Alex, any tips for TV? What are you watching at the moment?
Do you want a hot take from me, Robin? My hot take is, get ready for this. I think The Rings of Power is better than House of the Dragon. I am loving The Rings of Power. Are you watching it?
I haven't started it yet, but it is on the list.
It's very good. Okay, no spoilers. Not that I would do any spoilers, but it's very good. So I'm enjoying that. I am enjoying House of the Dragon. I just did I binged Dharma.
So did I. Frightening stuff.
Really is. It really is. I had to watch Finding Nemo afterwards just to get to bed.
And I've just discovered Halston as well with Ewan McGregor, which is just brilliant.
Yeah, that's the Fashion House one. I haven't seen that, but my wife was like, it's very good. So it's sort of on the list. But if it's space, if it's fantasy, if there's a monster in it, if it's true crime, that's more my bag than potentially that. So, and there's so much out there these days. It's like you do have to be selective.
And the other big show that I'm loving at the moment that I keep talking about is Only Murders in the Building.
Isn't it great? Steve Martin Short. Those two together, I mean, talk about two kind of icons from 80s cinema. I mean, like Martin Short, I first discovered in Inner Space, and I was just like, sold. Didn't know who this guy was. Obviously, didn't get Saturday Night Live over here. And I was like, this guy is amazing. So, Only Murders in the Building is brilliant.
Well, Alex, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Cheers, man. Have a great day.
Okay, moving on to a big charity event now, an event that's being used to raise money for the Northern Ireland Children to Lapland and Days to Remember Trust. To tell us what's happening and to tell us more about this fabulous charity, Colin Barkley joins us in the studio. Colin, how are you?
I'm fine, great to be here. Thank you, Robin.
Good to see you once again. So we'll talk about the big Scottish event in just a second, but tell us about the charity first of all, because obviously with COVID the past few years, things must have been so difficult for you guys, as for all charities out there.
All charities, I think, have suffered. The Northern Ireland Children to Lapland Trust was formed in 2008, and every year we've been taking a plane load of kids, terminally ill, life-limited and deserving children, to Lapland on a fantastic day for them and their families. The last 2 years, obviously, we've been unable to go, but fingers crossed we're going again this year on the 21st of December. That's the plan, and hopefully nothing goes wrong. In the meantime, though, what we did was we didn't want to forget the kids, so we put together what we called our 3 Steps to Christmas campaign, and we chose 100 kids, or the hospital trusts, I should say, chose the kids, and then we got a special letter, a personalised letter from Santa mentioning their pets and their teachers by name, etc. Then a video from Lapland, and then £200 worth of presents delivered by our volunteer elves to their doorstep. So it wasn't quite the same as the magic of Lapland, but it was the best we could do in the circumstances. And I have to say it was very, very well received and very popular.
So to take these children out to Lapland to fill an aeroplane, I mean, that must be a huge task.
It's a big undertaking, both financially and also on the logistical side of it, because these kids by definition are all suffering from some very serious illnesses. So we have to have a lot of doctors and nurses with us, and medicine for every eventuality. So for the day, it is really a flying hospital. The authorities in Lapland know we're there and have an ambulance on hand, which, touch wood, we've never had to use. But it's logistically very quite an ordeal for our general manager Fiona, who puts it all together.
And of course, all the money comes from fundraising throughout the year, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's no lotto funding or anything like that. It's all completely self-financed, and we've got a lot of very good corporate partners who support us financially, and then individual fundraising events. And we're chosen as the charity by various groups who are holding events. So yes, it's all coming in, but that's all starting to go again, because obviously for 2 years there was very little coming in. But we've got there, and we're ready to go again.
So tell us about Sunday, the 20th of November. You've got a big event coming up, the Walk to Scotland event, haven't you?
Yeah, this was our founder, Jack Rogers' brainchild. And it's basically, it's a sponsored walk with a difference. The Walk to Scotland, you walk around the Stena ship as it sails from Belfast to Cairnryan on a designated route. And then when we get to Stranraer, we don't disembark. There's lunch for everyone, and then there's a cabaret show on the way back. And so it's a fabulous day out. It really is. For the cabaret this year, Jerry Kelly will be our president. Will be emceeing it. I'll probably do a bit, which isn't going to encourage too many people. Then we've Trevor Price, the magician, and Fiddler Adam, who always absolutely wrecks the place. So it's a brilliant day out, and we're hoping to get maybe 150 people coming along. Each walker is asked to raise in sponsorship a minimum of £100.
Okay.
And there are some spaces for non-walkers and for children, but all the details are on our website, nichildrentolapland.com. But it's a brilliant day. We leave, check-in's about 9:45 on the Sunday morning, and we're back about 6 o'clock. And a great time is had by all in between.
Yeah, it sounds like a fabulous day out. Now, you did mention your president there, Jerry Kelly, who of course people will remember for the legendary Kelly show over the years as well.
Yeah. He's saying now, though, that it's people coming up saying, my mummy loved you or my granny loved you. It's getting to be my granny now. But no, Jerry's very hands-on as a president, I'm delighted to say. And so, yes, he'll be with us on the day and with us in Lapland, and that's always great to have.
Brilliant. Well, talking about Jerry, have you heard the big news?
Do tell.
He is coming to this network on NVTV. The Jerry Kelly Show is coming back.
Fabulous.
On a Friday night at 9 o'clock. And in fact, you know what we'll do now? We'll roll the promo. Here he is. So there we go, that's what's happening. NVTV's Friday night at 9 o'clock at Jerry Kelly back on the telly.
Well, that was a must for a lot of households over the years, wasn't it?
Everybody has their memories of it, really, don't they? And I know we mentioned before we came on the air about the famous Rory McIlroy golfing into the washing machine back in the day as well.
I just by coincidence was lucky enough to be there that night through Jerry, and was in the green room watching as Rory in practice put, I think, 5 out of 6 into the washing machine, whereas Jerry couldn't even hit the washing machine. But it's great to see those clips coming out every so often with how well Rory has done.
Indeed. We look forward to the brand new series. And once again, give us the details if people want to join you on the Walk to Scotland. How do they do that?
They register online on our website, nichildrentolapland.com. On the top of the screen, you'll see Walk to Scotland. Click on that, and it's all there for online registration. We have a brand new website, which is very well worth a look, and everything's explained.
Brilliant. Well, Colin, good to see you, and the best of luck with the charity.
Thank you, Robin. Thanks very much.
Now, still to come on the show this week, we'll have some live music in the studio from Jesse Terry very soon. But before that, let's talk Chinese cooking now. And I'm pleased to say that celebrity chef Ken Hom joins us now on the line. Ken, how are you?
fine.
Well, good to see you, Ken. So we're talking about Asian cooking and cuisine on the show today. So tell us about the latest research then. What have we found out about our love for Asian foods then?
Well, it's amazing. More than 80% of people in this country eat an Asian meal at least once a week. Now, that tells me that Asian food is part of the DNA of food culture here in Britain. And I remember even 12 years ago, they found that Chinese food was as popular as fish and chips. And I know you have great fish and chips. I'm a fan. I'm addicted to fish and chips. And in Cornwall, you have the greatest fish and chips. But it's very interesting how things have changed over the years. How the British public has opened up to different cuisines, especially to Asian cuisine. And now not only do we have Chinese, we have Thai, which is very popular. We have Vietnamese, we have Japanese, of course. It's great. It just makes life so much more interesting, don't you think?
Definitely, and of course, there are some health benefits to Asian cooking as well, aren't there?
Absolutely. Because why? Because our diet has much more huge quantity of vegetable in proportion to meat. I think this is what scientists and doctors have been telling us for many years. Cut down your meat protein and eat more veggies. Now, how do you eat more veggies? Well, I think the Chinese way of eating veggies is what makes it appealing. For instance, I grew up in the Chinese community and we were very poor. And so we ate a lot of veggies because, number one, they were inexpensive, and especially when they were seasonal, which means they were completely affordable. And so I thought I'd go back into my childhood and search the authentic Chinese dishes. So I worked with Lee Kum-kee, who makes sauces, and developed these recipes for families of 4 under 5 pounds. Now, I do this braised cauliflower dish, which I love, but for a change, it's nice in this braised cauliflower where I stir fry with garlic and ginger, which is actually quite good and healthy for you. And I add Lee Kum-kee light soy sauce and Lee Kum-kee oyster sauce and just a little bit of water and sesame oil, and just cook that until it's tender and it's out of this world. Even if you weren't a vegetarian, you could convert because it's so rich and tasty. And this is what I'm trying to show, that you don't have to spend a mint to eat well and healthy as well. Because sometimes you often think about healthy as horrible hippie brown food that you have to eat like medicine. To the contrary, for instance, my stir-fried pepper with chicken and mantou is so colorful. When I make it for the family, even the kids go like, wow, this looks really good. It's full of vegetables and chicken. And what I do is I find, do you like spicy?
I do like spicy food, yeah.
In this recipe, I use the Lee Kum-kee Sichuan hot and spicy sauce. Now, that is unbelievably so delicious. And even some of the kids sometimes say, add more add more of the spicy dish. And you can eat that with rice or noodles, and it makes a whole meal. I mean, it costs under 5 quid. And it's healthy, again, when we're talking about healthy, because of all the veg. We don't eat enough veg. And actually, my mouth is watering because I'm thinking about it. You just have that with rice. It's just so good.
Well, it sounds amazing. And the great thing is, because it's so cheap, people at this time need affordable food with the cost of living going up. So not being able to afford so much to spend on takeaways, cooking at home is kind of the way to go at the minute, isn't it?
Not only that, but there's something about I would like people to return to cooking at home because, number one, it's a nice family thing. If you have younger children, get them involved because you know why. When you get children involved, like for instance, my grandkids, they hated cauliflower, but when I made this braised dish with them, they loved it. You know why? Because they helped me make it. This is how we trick.
So where did your love for cooking first start? Because you started cooking at the age of 11, didn't you?
Yes, well, I worked in my uncle's restaurant, but my mom has always, she's not like a super cook, but she's a great home cook, and she's always made tasty food. And it's funny because we're talking about Lee Kum Kee sauces. I grew up with them, and with the sauces, she was able to make affordable seasonal food that was so delicious. And the problem was I didn't have enough. I was always I'm a big eater.
So if anybody wants to learn how to cook Asian food at home, what would your kind of top tips be?
Oh, top tips. Well, it's good to get a wok, number one, because a wok allows you to cook really quickly. And then try some of these recipes. Go on the lkk.com website. Try some of these recipes. You see how affordable they are. And once you stock up on the sauces, which are the Lee Kum Kee sauces, which are all available in supermarkets, you will see how they can enhance your culinary life. Use them in other things. For instance, some of the sauces, for instance, the Sichuan style sauce that I use for the chicken. Well, if it's in the summer, you feel like doing a quick barbecue, put that sauce on your meat and barbecue it. You'd be surprised how good that is. So use your imagination. And these sauces are quite versatile. Some of them, like I'm addicted, I have to confess. The Lee Kum Kee Chujao chili oil sauce. Oh God, I love it. I even tried to travel with it.
It sounds amazing. And if you had to choose your favorite Asian dish of all time, Ken, what would it be?
I know people ask me that all the time, but it's hard to say because it depends on my mood. Yeah. Want something home cooked and really simple, like, for instance, I love Chinese sausages with just cooked in rice because it reminds me of my mom. She used to serve it with a fried egg and she drizzled oyster sauce on it. Oh, my God. And I still make it today when I think about my mom, who unfortunately is gone now. Do you know how food evokes childhood? That's probably one of my all-time favorite dishes among many.
Well, Ken, you're making me hungry now. So if people want to find out more information about your sauces, where can they go to for that?
Go to the lkk.com. They will find, there'll be some videos showing how to make some of these dishes as well. And they can have fun. And I wish them all good health. And good health to you as well, Ken. It's been great meeting you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Thank you for inviting me. Right, time now for some live music in the Envy's TV studios. And Jesse Terry is always welcome here anytime he comes back to play Belfast. And he was here recently as part of his UK tour. And here he is performing live. Here's Jesse Terry.
Nobody knows that glint in your eyes. You leave this home we built in a moment's time and sail away without knowing the wind. For we may never have a chance again. When we wander, don't it feel like we're finally found? When we wander, we always find our way somehow. Someday we may raise a child of our own, and everybody tells you how a flower's supposed to grow. But I love the way you only listen to the stars and chart a course from the rhythm of a heart. When we wander, don't it feel like we're finally found? When we wander, we always find our way somehow. And we've seen things that can't be bought, chose not to be afraid, but everything has its cost, and here I will remain where the wildest horses run, 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 run. When we wander, don't it feel like we're finally found? When we wander, we always find our way. We always find our way. We always find our way somehow.
So there we go. That's a great song called When We Wander from Jesse Terry, who now joins us in the studio. Welcome back. It's been like 3 years, I would imagine, from the last time you were here.
Yeah, it feels like yesterday, though.
Yeah,
it's good to be back.
Good to see you
Yeah.
again. So tell us about the song you just performed there. What's the story behind that?
Yeah, When We Wander is, I think I might have told you in the past, my wife is from New Zealand, and within like 6 months of meeting her, I met her in the South Pacific. I brought her back to Nashville and asked her to marry me in the middle of a Bluebird Cafe show in Nashville.
Wow.
And then a few days later, asked her to move into the car and tour the country, and she said yes to all of this. I mean, and she kept the marriage on.
But you have to be pretty confident to do it in a venue in front of people like the Bluebird Cafe, wouldn't you?
Yeah. It was a bit nerve-wracking, but it was one of the best moves I've ever made.
Excellent.
And so the song is about this touring family, because I've toured with my wife almost full time for this whole career, so almost 12 years now, and then when we had a daughter, we brought her along as well. So it's about the life of a touring family and just kind of going for it, taking risks, things like that.
So this time, there's only kind of one Northern Ireland date on the tour. The rest's all kind of UK, isn't it?
Yeah, I have a couple private house concerts this weekend, so I'm kind of like under the radar after Lisburn. But yeah, I'll have to make sure I come to Northern Ireland a lot more next year.
Definitely.
Yeah,
because
longer trip next year.
Yeah, I mean, the last time you were in the studio, Emma Stevens was with you.
Yeah.
She's a great performer, great artist,
wonderful.
isn't she? Yeah.
We have, I think, about God, 15, 16 shows together in England this year, in October, this October. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So I'm excited for that.
You're also promoting the new album. Tell us all about that.
So the new album is When We Wander, and then I have a covers album out right now as well called Forget Me Nots, and I have a Christmas album. I was very productive during COVID, during lockdown, because that's all I could do was make music, and so I did. Yeah, so it's been great getting back out and having all this new music to play.
So what about the covers then on Forget Me Nots? What kind of things have you done then?
We did everything from Gershwin to Coldplay.
Wow.
There was kind of, at the beginning I was thinking, maybe there should be a theme, maybe we should do old songs or do 80s songs or whatever, maybe we should have a theme, but at the end of the day, I just wanted to do my favorites, things that I would never forget, I'd never want to stop singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about growing up? Who would have been your first kind of main kind of influences then?
James Taylor is like what I learned to play on the guitar. So even to this day, like my strength is finger picking, which is unusual. Most people, their strength is strumming. James Taylor and the Beatles and Jackson Browne and Bruce Springsteen, all of the great, I love the great troubadours who could, captivate an audience with their songs, just their songs and their singing. I still feel that way now.
And then since you've covered a Coldplay song, are you a big Chris Martin fan then? I
am, yeah. I'm a Coldplay fan, but I just happen to really love that song "Don't Panic," and I thought it would be cool. We did that with like banjo and stuff. I wanted to do things. I wanted to pick songs that I could hopefully make my own, and hopefully do in a different way. So, but yeah, I love Coldplay.
Brilliant. Okay, we're getting ever closer to Christmas as well. And it's great when somebody records a new Christmas record, because we, as a DJ on the radio, we get fed up playing Slade and Mariah Carey and all the usual stuff every year. So tell us about your Christmas album then.
Yeah, it was, I love the Christmas album. It's called Peace. And I was very limited. I had a fan, limited in the fact of instrumentation. I had a fan who reached out and said, hey, you've got a lot of time on your hands. If you'd like to make a Christmas album, I'll fund it. It has to be a double album. He said, it has to be a double album, at least 20 songs, and you have to learn how to record. So I said, I think I can do all that thing. So I learned how to record and built a studio in my apartment, recording studio, and it was wonderful. But I'm not sure the neighbors thought it was wonderful, singing "Oh Holy Night" in August, at the top of my lungs. But we had a great time, and then I sent the tracks to just a few different people in Nashville. So the album is really sparse, which I really liked. Just some violin and some cello and some pedal steel and mandolin, just some things here and there. But it really is the core of you hear the core of the songs and how beautiful those songs are. And I sung my own 3-part harmony. My dad arranged the harmonies.
Brilliant.
So I really love the product, and I love that I was forced to keep things stripped down.
So obviously your dad was very musical then as well.
Very musical. Yeah, he's a brilliant guy who's also a composer and does film scoring and can write for symphonies. He has a lot of the skills that I don't have.
Excellent.
Where I've focused more on just writing songs and performing, and he's a good songwriter though too. I hate him. He's very good at everything.
You're going to do one more song before you go. What are you going to do for us this time?
I'll do a song called "Strangers in Our Town," which is off the new "When We Wander" album, and this one is about. This one is a kind of a love letter to my little town. It's when I left Nashville, I kind of wanted to fall off the map a little bit. Have a place that was more a place for solitude, a place for creation, and I found that in our little coastal village in New England. And this song was recently on that show, Virgin River on Netflix, which has been a big...
Mrs. E loves it. I haven't watched it, but she's binging it on Netflix at the minute, so she is.
That's what all my guy friends are telling me. They're writing me and saying, I love that show. I mean, my wife loves that show. She makes me watch it. But it's a great show. Actually, my wife did get me to watch it, and now I love it.
Yeah.
And she was the one who said, hey, there's really good music on this show, and it's kind of like your vibe. You should have your folks send in, your music. And I did, and it took 2 years, but one day I said, and one day I got an email, and they said, we're going to use your song. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to hear the song now. In the meantime, Jesse, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Robin.
So here he is performing one more time live in the NVTV studios. Here is Jesse Terry.
This is the place where we disappear. Whisper to the ocean, get our answers there. Nothing changes much, still waiting for the catch to come back in. It's been 10,000 miles since we've been home. It feels good to hold you and know we're alone. Nobody knows us, this is where we find ourselves again. Honey, leave your suitcase in the driveway for now. Oh, you look so perfect with the sun sinking down. Baby, come on out, let's be strangers in our town. And this is the place where we rest our souls. That old highway living, yeah, it takes its toll. Wouldn't trade it for nothing. This is what I picture in those motel rooms. And this is the place we left our past behind, carved out a world just for you and I. And this is the place we first started watching our flowers grow. Well, honey, put down your makeup, throw me the keys. Ain't the boats in the harbor really all we need? Baby, come on out, let's be strangers in our town. And no one stops us on the street or way out in the tides. So we just run together and we just take our time. Soon we will be gone, chasing yellow lines. That's the life we lead. So honey, let down your head, put your hand in mine. You know the wind sends a shiver by the water tonight. Baby, come on out, let's be strangers in our town. Well, baby, come on out, let's be strangers in our town.
Now, a new anti-perfect parenting book has just been launched called Notes on Messy Parenting, with lots of celebrities giving their top tips and advice, including Ian H. Watkins, better known as H from Steps, and I caught up with him earlier on today, and I started off by asking him all about his life as a parent, because he's the father to 6-year-old twins. Here's what happened. Now, for you, there must have been a lot more pressure on you with being in the public eye when you became a parent, and lots of people wanting to see photographs of the twins and stuff like that. So was there a lot of pressure on you then?
I keep my social media and my Instagram very, very real, very raw. I will always post if I'm having a bad day, just to post the reality of social media. Also, I never put my children's faces on social media. That's just a personal preference. I believe the people overshare. They share so much of their lives, and their children become products or things to sell. And I don't do that. I've always covered their faces with masks. So I want people to know the reality of my life, but I do it in such a way where I have privacy as well.
What I like about you is how open and honest you always are, but with that kind of brings out the trolls out there. And I know you've had a lot of bad stuff happen to you online, haven't you?
I get messages daily, homophobic messages, bigots, hate. I will always call a bigot or a homophobe out, especially when it comes to my children or my parenting. Recently I've actually put on Pride in my local town, and it was a week-long celebration of education, incredible events, all raising money for our local schools. All of them, we raised over £20,000, and all of the money goes into schools for LGBTQI plus resources for teachers, parents, pupils, and we had hate written on the town hall door, pride F off. Things like that I encounter on a daily basis, but it encourages me. It puts a fire in my belly to go even harder, to go bigger and better for next year. So all they do is fuel my need for celebration and diversity and inclusion. So keep on doing it.
Exactly, but it's still shocking to know that that kind of hate still exists out there in this day and age. It's really scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not shocking to me because I get it on a daily basis, but scary is a good word. The lack of education and the lack of resources, which is exactly why I strive and I fight for diversity and inclusion and representation. We've got a long way to go. Times have changed, but we have a long, long way to go.
Now, what about the twins then? Have they realised how famous their dad is yet?
My children don't care. So, I don't brainwash them with step songs. I don't show them steps videos. Whenever we do something, that I think is really kind of significant or I'm really proud of. So recently we headlined the Queen's Jubilee party for ITV. And I fast forwarded it, right to the end because we were the big finale. And I sat them down and I said, Daddy's going to show you, so they know who the Queen is because they've celebrated the Jubilee. This was obviously months before.
Yeah.
So I pressed play and literally 10 seconds into our performance, they said, Daddy, can we colour now? So they don't care. They absolutely don't care.
Now you're back together again with Steps and sounding as great as you always did. This must be a pretty exciting time for you.
Oh, do you say all the right things? Do you know what? We've just celebrated 25 years in the music business, which is, we had a little break in between.
And it is scary because I've been on the radio for over 25 years now, and I remember getting the first Steps CD and playing it on the radio and loving it because I love all that kind of cheesy pop stuff. So I feel like I've been on the journey with you guys over the last 25 years.
Do you know what's even scary, Robin? That I am still performing that song 25 years later. So we've just set another record, which is amazing. So we are part of a very prestigious group, the Beatles, the Stereophonics. We are one of the only bands to have 4 consecutive albums in 4 consecutive decades, which makes us really old.
And you're still managing to look fabulous today. How do you do it with all the late nights and coping with looking after the twins and stuff like that? Do you have a regular regime?
I don't have a regime, but I'll take all of those compliments. Thank you. I'm spinning lots of plates and I'm juggling lots of balls. I'm just about, in an hour, I'll be doing the school run. So I'm just a regular parent that has an irregular job.
Coming back to the research, we've also discovered that more than 2 in 5 people have also said that they received unsolicited or unrequested parenting advice from others. Did you have something like that when the twins were born?
Yeah, I was. And at the time, it's not so much I didn't want it. I didn't know how to parent. So yes. I guess in the very early stages, I did take lots of advice and I read lots of books pre my children because I knew I was having twins. So I thought, okay, I have to brush up on my twin knowledge. And all of those books I read were absolute tosh. None of it helped in any way, And people always say that when you have your second child, I had 2 of mine at the same time, so I didn't have the luxury of this. When you have your second child, you're much more relaxed. It's so much easier because you've done it all before. Yeah. But for me, the pressure, again, we go back to the social media aspect. When they were really little, I had a little digital detox. I didn't look at social media because I felt bombarded by images of perfect parenting. And actually, it's changed a little bit since my children have been born. People are much more open. They're more honest. There are safe spaces where you can actually voice how you're feeling. If you're feeling down or you have mental health issues, all of those things are very much on social media. So it's a bit of a curse and a blessing.
And what would happen if the twins came to you one day and said they would love to get into showbiz, they would really love to get into the music industry? What would you say?
I'm happy for my children to play and dive into anything that tickles their fancy. At the moment, they want to climb trees and jump on trampolines and splatter paint all over my kitchen walls. So As long as they're happy right now, then that's all that matters.
Oh, brilliant. Well, the book Messy Parenting is out now. How do we get our hands on it?
Do you know what? What's brilliant about this is that it's a digital download and it's absolutely free. Go to the Play-Doh website and you can grab a little digital copy.
Well, I'm definitely going to take a look at it. In the meantime, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
You're welcome, Robin. Take care.
So that's nearly all we have time for on the show this week. Before I leave you, we're going to talk about the Dark Hedges Film Festival. Some great horror movies are on the way. And here's what happens when I caught up with Jim from our very own Banterflix earlier this week to find out about this year's festival.
This is not a dream. Not a dream. You are receiving this broadcast as a dream.
Welcome to my nightmare. I think you're gonna like it.
This is the 5th year the festival's been running. 3 years as a fully fledged film festival. It started out as a short film program. It's evolved from that. The first year we decided to launch was, of course, the year of the pandemic, which is a slightly tad problematic, but we've persevered, and now here we are 3 years later, and I'm really delighted because it's not just me. I'm here today talking about the festival, but there's a lot of people that have helped make the programme happen this year. There's, the likes of Film Hub, the likes of the fellow members of the team, and of course all the venues that have worked really well with us. And we've got 5 new films alongside our cult classics, alongside our short films. The short film, that's what the festival started out as. It's still a very important part of the festival, so it's not just a platform for local filmmakers. We've also got a platform for international filmmakers, and that's something that's now in its 2nd year, and I'm really excited about, along with the new films. Yeah. And there's a weird and wonderful mix. There's a documentary called A Day in the Farm, where a filmmaker discovers his father's past, who made a film that verges, I think the way to describe it is Monty Python meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What's not to like, people?
He'll go down in history.
There's more to it than that. I kept watching. I couldn't believe what I'd seen.
I mean, it is a twist, isn't it?
Yeah, it totally is. I was not expecting that at all.
Oh, it's marvellous, isn't it?
There's traditional horror films like The Creeping as well, and we'll not talk too much about the subject matter for the film Eat Me. And then there's Eugene McPeak's short anthology film. It's about an hour long, so it's not too long. Eugene McPeak from the McPeak musical family, you may know. Yes. Robin, they've made this short film that is an anthology of different Irish horror stories, and I think it's fab. So the new cinema's exciting. I also think I would say to anybody watching, check out the shorts at both the International and the Irish at the Strand, and you can also watch them online. I've mentioned the pandemic. If you're not quite ready to come back to the cinema, you can watch some of our content online, and there's going to be some free stuff on there because it is a cost of living crisis. But that's the new stuff. I'm a horror fan. I love horror, so we have our cult classics as well. So we've got a couple of biggies, but we've also got a few cult classic screenings. So we're opening the festival on the 24th with Prince of Darkness at the Sunflower, a new venue for us. We're trying something slightly different. So come and watch a movie, have a pint. If you want, have a soft drink. If not, we're doing that. That's celebrating the 35th anniversary of John Carpenter's film. Then we've also got The Monster Squad, which is just this absolutely fun horror film. It's going to be at the Movie House. We're doing a cult classic, as we always do within the programme. We're doing Bride of Frankenstein on Sunday at 2 o'clock at the Strand. A perfect lazy Sunday. Come and watch James Whale's classic horror film. What's not to like about that? And then, as I said, we've got the 2 biggies. We have Bram Stoker's Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola's 1992 film, on the Belfast Barge. We're going to turn the venue into the Dementor for the night, and anybody who comes will get a free print by local artist Chris Ellis, who's worked with us for a long time. And then for something a bit fun, we always do something big. We've done that before the festival as just Banterflix, but we've always done something around Halloween. Halloween's on a Monday this year, so we're doing it on the Saturday at the Black Box. Come down. release your inner vampire for a screening of What We Do in the Shadows. I am being forced by members of my team, Robin, to dress up, by our very own head scout who's going to be hosting the night, along with her long-suffering brother. That's his words, not mine. They're going to be dressing up as characters from What We Do in the Shadow. They're going to be hosting. They're going to be judging the best dressed. So why not come down? You might be in for a prize if you come dressed. I don't know if you'll be able to be out vampire me. You can see I've got those classic Christopher Lee kind of looks, but we'll have to see. You'll have to see what I'm going to come dressed as, because the honest truth is, viewers, I don't know yet. I haven't quite decided. I've just been told I have to dress up. So come down. That's going to be a lot of fun on the Black Box, 8 o'clock on Saturday the 29th of October.
Welcome to my home.
So if you check it out on our website, it's www.dhiff.com, or search for the Dark Hedges Film Festival on Facebook, Twitter, or even on Instagram. We don't do Snapchat because we're old and we're not cool, and we haven't quite figured out TikTok yet.
So there we go. Lots of things to look forward to in this year's Dark Hedges Film Festival. That's all we have time for this week. I'll see you back here same time next week. Bye-bye.